sound. Car, drive, electric sports sound, on. Ah, I like this. Oof. Oof. I like this. Alright, this is the Taycan GTS. So for those who are used to Porsches, we always have the standard one where their names is just that it, you know, Carrera, Panamera, Cayenne, and then one level up they add an S, right? Cayenne S, Panamera S, and all that. And then before you go into the flagship turbo, there is the GTS. Let's talk about the pre-all turbocharged eras, you know. Now in Panameras or Cayennes, GTS, in those eras you have the 4.8 NA, and then you have the high-tuned 4.8 S, and before you go into the turbo, which is the 4.8 turbo, there is the GTS. Now the GTS generally would come fitted with all the high performance brakes, larger wheels, more sporty exterior, more trendy colors. Of course you can spec them, and most importantly, a louder exhaust, the sports exhaust, and then a sportier suspension setup. Basically, GTS means I go all out in making it sporty before you go into turbo territory. So usually when we see a GTS in Porsches, they all sound really good. So that was the NA era. They even sound better than the turbos, because turbos being turbos, they're turbocharged, right? So the loudest Porsches back then from the Panamera Cayenne era has always been the GTS, alright? But this is an electric car, right? It's not like they're gonna make this sound louder in the car because I can turn it off, right? I can switch it off. So what this is that Taycan, you have the normal Taycans, rear wheel drive to all wheel drive dual motor, and then in the turbo you have two really powerful motors, right? It's higher rated motors, the electric motor I mean. So in the GTS, one of those is from the turbo, so it's a higher rated electric motor. But of course you still get the purportedly 500 km range. That is dependent on how you drive, right? If the previous person drives mad, and then it will show, oh, you only get like 400 km. Okay, doesn't mean the battery is smaller. Yeah, this is something I want to clarify to all people who drives electric cars and complains that their battery has shrunk. When you buy a petrol car, you have a 70-liter fuel tank. It tells you you have 800 km range. It means you have been driving leniently. Hence, the computer calculates an 800 km range for you. If you've been driving like a hooligan, the computer will calculate you have 480 range. Doesn't mean your fuel tank has shrunk. And this logic applies to electric cars as well. Understand? So let's get that out. What is the Taycan? I mean, the Taycan has been around. It is a worldwide phenomenon, right? It is so successful all over the world. People buy them up, snap them up, because this is what we call a perfect, flawless execution with what they want to achieve, and they achieved it. Alright? Yeah, I need to prepare my touch and go because this is not my car. Sorry. I wish I bought it, but I did not. Okay. Now, why do I call the Taycan the perfect execution? It has been since, I would say, 2008 or 2009 that everybody wants to create a four-door sports car. Alright? The era Lamborghini did the Estoque, Aston Martin did the Rapide, Porsche did the Panamera. But none of them, I would say, is a four-door sports car, because in their pursuit of trying to fit more adults in, they always end up being too big, too fat, too luxurious, right? Or in the none of them. You look at the Panamera. I mean, it handles well, right? It can fit 4 adults comfortably, but it is by no means a sports car, all right? Because it's huge, it's luxurious, it's heavy, it's big. It's just not that kind of sporty feeling, even though it can do all that. The Rapide is equally as big. Worst of all, it can't fit people, all right? In its pursuit of a nice roofline and all that. So after all these years, we see cars like, yeah, there are so many of them trying to make the 4-door sports car recipe. But until the Taycan, which driving it now, sitting behind, I get it. It feels like imagine a Golf R Club Sport with 4 doors. Then you can imagine its interior. You know, it's like a GT3 kind of interior inside here. You know, it's all cloth or carbon or Alcantara. It doesn't feel like Alcantara, right? So it has that sporty character in it. And I was sitting behind just now. I can fit in my headroom, legroom, but just enough. All right, it is not as crazy tight as the Rapide, but it is not like a Panamera where you can stretch out and all that. All right, so it's compact, it's nice, and this whole execution of an electric car inside something like this is the perfect stepping stone for Porsche. Porsche actually officially categorizes the Taycan together with the sports cars grouping instead of the luxury cars. All right, it is not parked under the same vertical as the Panamera. It is not, because it is a car that is set up to be very sporty. And that is also a great way to bring the brand into the new era, because Porsche, being Porsche, a racing brand, you know, like what they like to say, you know, petrol runs in your vein, that kind of stuff, right? Porsche has been winning races. Porsche is symbolic for the evolution of the car industry. Porsche has played a role in it, right? So for a brand that has so much sporting character, so many track day fanatics, so many Porsche fills all over the world, for this brand to jump into electric, they will face a larger lashback than, say, Toyota or Lexus or Mercedes-Benz, right? But they did it with a sports car, and not just a sports car that might dilute the 911 spirit. They created a new category out of it, right? Taycan, small, sporty, with all the technology in it, but the main ingredient, with which is the drive, is still there. So that's why this car sells so well. The waiting list is like what, 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years? It's crazy. So I mean, when you drive a car with this badge emblazoned, there's no need to judge whether it drives well or not, right? Of course it does. And I suspect there's another thing. I mean, its runaway success in Malaysia is, of course, the government's incentive to not tax EVs and provide road tax. I mean, free road tax for EVs. I mean, it has. I barely even touched the throttle. And I love the braking feel of this car. It's so nice. It is so. Yeah, maybe that's helped by the fact that they don't have the recuperation thing, because the motor alone can do it. What a nice car to drive. And to own it every day, I mean, think about it, right? So nice. Another thing about Porsche is they always have the wheel arches bulged up, so I can totally imagine myself if I were in need, to fight for P1, P2, P3 position. It's so easy for you to judge where your wheels are. That has always been another one of their hallmark, why they're so successful in racing. Of course, that has now become a tradition of Porsches, and hence they incorporated it into the Taycan. Right? The start button is still here, so another Porsche tradition. I mean, of course, they have the keys back then, right, to twist it. The keys will always be on the same side as where your seatbelt is mounted, because this is a Le Mans tradition, where when the drivers, back then Le Mans, the cars are parked on one side and the drivers were on the opposite side, and on go they have to run to their cars, open the door, jump into the car. When one hand is twisting the key, another hand can pull the seatbelt. So that's why Porsches, all these many years, they put the starter button or the twist on the same side as the seatbelts, because you're going to use the other hand to pull the seatbelt and this hand to start it. They never put the starter on the left side, whereas the seatbelt is on the right. So Taycan keep that tradition and put the start button on the right side, since this seatbelt is mounted on the right side. So technically, if I run across the road, jump into the car, my right hand presses the start button and my left hand can pull the seatbelt. This is, the kind of Porsche tradition thing, right? Come, I'll let you cross the road so you can look at my car longer. For those of you who bought a Taycan, damn, it's nice. It's nice. I mean, the rest is just to entertain you, right? I mean, they have the screen over here to play with everything. I know there's a lot of plastic, but you can spec. You see, the standard steering wheel is plastic, but you can spec carbon. See? So GTS comes with these. And then there's a compartment down here, very nice. Black anodized aluminium stuffs, very nice as well. I'll go through the car. See, I bought a car now, I'm bringing the car home, right? Ooh. And woman buyers, right? I mean, there are so many women entrepreneurs out there, and they too want a stylish, practical car to use, right? Of course, sports cars are nice, but this one, you put a lady here trying this versus a sports car, fiery exhaust and all that. I think they're gonna go for this. I mean, it's not hard for them to not go for this. Let's look at the car, shall we? The back seats, they're not super, like a, even a Macan was designed to accommodate people in full comfort, right? But this one is just, it's there. You can use it if you need it, and it's spacious enough when you need it. But most of the time, it is a sports car. It is a sports car. Right? The way it looks, the way it's set up, it is a sports car. All right. What other better place than to park it next to a TNB? TNB, what do you call that? Room. More power. All right, let's look at the car. All right, This is the interior of the Taycan. Now, just look around you. This interior, you touch and feel everything, right? It is actually closer in its execution to a 911 than a Panamera or a Cayenne. If you just try and look at it, first off is the way this dashboard looks. The overall shape of this cluster is still looking like the traditional 5-dial 911 dashboard. And then this one, people who own the 992 would understand where this came from, along with this. But also people who own the 993, the 964, the 930 will understand where this basic design or architecture came from, right? It is the classic Porsche 911 design, which only deviated in the 996, 997 and 991 generation. After that, they came back to this architecture, all right? Now, of course, if you buy ones that are not spec'd up, you will feel a lot of plastics everywhere. You will be able to touch a lot of plastics. But Porsche being Porsche, you can pay your way out of it. Look at it, right? You can touch plastic if you want to, if you wish to, right? This plastic is also here, right? And when it was plastic, it is a little bit more flimsier, but when it's carbon, ooh, it's stiff, very nice. Okay, carbon as well. So the architecture of this interior is, one look at it, it is a wide interior. It is somewhat, in terms of reach, it is wider than the 5 Series, right? As in you're sitting in the driver's seat and then you want to reach to the other side. It's actually a wide car, all right? Like how a sports car would do. And then these are all kept very basic, has the sense it. You kind of feel that there is a lightweight sensation here, you know, in terms of the appointments, the upholstery and things like that, right? And of course, this one has a specification of being, you know, like matte anodized black aluminium inserts and all that, which is very nice, you know, very German in a way, very Porsche. All right, so you have this, the drive mode selector. Okay, you can change sport, sport plus, individual and all that. This is really nice and functional. Right, this part is carbon as well. The really nice GTS emblazoned here. Cruise control stock is over here. All right, so, and this steering wheel is really nice. Of course, the one thing that you may kind of miss would be the paddles. Now, a lot of car makers, since they have the brake recuperation thing, right, they use the paddle shifters to do stronger or weaker recuperation. But the Taycan, in order to give us the perfect braking feel, choose not to have brake recuperation, but instead, but of course, what they realize is that they can use a very efficient electric motor power recuperation directly with the motor instead of the brakes. Okay, so they don't need recuperating brakes that corrode your driving experience when it comes to braking feel. Okay, the keys look like this. For those who haven't seen Porsche keys, these are the same color as the exterior color you pick. Okay, down the center console, what we can see here, of course, this is the infotainment screen. This is, wow, look at that. It's just superb, right? The way it is laid out, right? So the passenger can actually go navigation or media and whatnot, right? Look at that. Look at that. So I can press navigation. It goes navigation. I press navigation. It goes navigation. And press music. Music. So this one, these 4 shortcuts control this. So the good thing about this is that, see, I can use navigation here, which of course is repeated over here, but the passenger here can be looking at music and all that. All right. Okay, so that's the whole idea with it. It's very simple because it's all icon based now. Okay, so a lot cleaner than the previous execution when they went to horizontal screen, right? So chassis settings and all that, I mean, just play around with it. All right, the charge levels, yep. And then down here mostly for the air conditioning, and I suspect, oh, there's another way of input. Look at that, like a haptic screen. It actually vibrates and the haptic feel is there. All right, and what else is there? Oh, this one controls the electrochromatic screen, which is pretty cool. All right, see this pattern? A bit up there. So as I move this, okay, look at the reflection. You can see the panoramic roof from the reflection here. So it's very useful. So yes, that's the roof, the glass roof, going transparent, following my finger. And you see the trees behind? See the trees on top? Right? So, it looks magical, I tell you. Cool, right? Super cool. Yeah. Alright, so these are all the toys you can play with if you pay the money to spec them in. Why not? Alright, and over here, wow, it's like almost everything can be touched and pressed, and you can do something with it. Alright, so all the screens are super responsive. You know, it's just really nice. Alright, cup holders. This is a cup holder, but of course with a nice Porsche ashtray, or in modern days we call them, you know, your shilling holder. Right, press a button, open it up, and you have a compartment with your wireless charger over here, and then 12-volt socket, USB ports, stuffs like that. And then there's a little compartment down here. Yep. Glove box. Pretty large. Yep. The seats, oh, they grip you well and they're very beautiful to look at. All right. So the interior room of this car is really enough, I have to say. Not in a way whereby you can stretch and feel really super spacious, but it's enough. That's the key word here. Okay. Ingress, egress is easy enough for the front, and let's go to the back. See that? See? So it's not crazy spacious, but just enough. A true four-door sports car. I'm amazed with the packaging, to be honest, because from the outside it's not a very big car, and inside here, the leg room or whatever, knee room, whatever you want to call it, is like a previous generation 3 Series. But the thing is this, as a sports car that looks so good, sitting behind here, I don't feel that it's look at that, right? And my head, yeah, is brushing against the headliner, but hey, it's fine. So it's so well packaged. It is so well packaged. Okay, so it's perfectly usable as a daily. Right, then the aircon controls at the back. Some lovely gimmicks, kids will love it. So these things doesn't move, so don't try and move them. Okay, but this one, then the air will blow accordingly. Okay, very, very fun. So ISOFIX, everything, the seats are all right. This one, of course, I hope it could be like a full cushion so that doesn't, you know, my arms don't rest on some hard plastics. But nevertheless, it's a nice place to be in. and the suspension is super comfortable, right? And as an EV, it's a very practical daily EV. No, it's a very practical daily sports car that just so happened to be electric powered. Yep. It can go 500 km, it can do everything almost. Yeah. Very nice, and the boot is spacious enough. So we all know how Taycan looks, right? Let's look at the spec of this one. Right. Very beautiful spec, you know, bright red color with the fonts and blazoned Taycan GTS in full black. And then the wheels are really nice, 21 inch, 305, 21 inch wheels, crazy, absolutely crazy. Very wide wheels. Oh, these are really nice as well. Skirts with the word GTS there. The underside is this kind of rugged material, and then there's a gloss black trim on top. Very nice. Breathers here. That's the charging port. The fronts, so these are P0s, and 265, 35, 21 inch. All right, very nice. PZ4, this high spec LED matrix system, headlamps, beautiful. And yep, that's the beautiful Taycan. And isn't this a very suitable place? Trees, electric. Right. I know the waiting list is long, but you just have to understand. Just wait. Because if you want something good, something great, you just have to wait, because everybody wants it as well. And as you know, the current situation around the world, supply chain issues, so just wait and be patient with your Porsche dealer. Okay, I know why you want to buy it, and you should know why everybody else also wants to buy it, and we all should know why the wait is so long, because hey, it's a great car. Look at the inside. Ooh, look at that. Look at the inside. That is super cool. Super duper cool. Yep. Cheers.